Hey guys, welcome back to Adventure Built. My name is Kelly.
I'm Trevor.
And today we are doing a public service announcement reference winch mounting.
Yep. Stay tuned to see how these little guys can save you a lot of heartache. A few weeks ago when we were testing out the Factor 55 rope retention pulley, I had noticed some fibers on the steel bumper from the synthetic line.
And the last thing you want is a synthetic winch line being pulled across anything sharp, especially a steel winch bumper. What we have here is a representation of what Trev was seeing when we were out in the desert. The winch line was actually coming out of the bottom of the winch spool and it was dragging across the steel bumper here before it even touched the Fairlead. So what we're going to do is add these spacers here to the bottom of the winch to raise the winch up off the bumper to correct the angle of the winch synthetic line. Our hope on this fix is to not have to drop this Victory 4x4 hybrid bumper. Very nice bumper, very heavy bumper. We really don't want to have to drop this thing down. What we'd like to do is unbolt the 4 bolts that go into the Ironman winch and actually raise it up enough to be able to get these 4 washers under the 4 bolts, drop it back down, and have the perfect alignment.
With the Victory 4x4 bumper, we have access to the bolts to the bottom of the winch mount. And the nice thing with the Ironman 4x4 winch is that the bolts are captured at the base of the winch. And the nice thing about them being captured is we can unbolt them from the bottom and not have to worry about getting a tool inside of an extremely tight space to hold them down when we tighten them back up. One of the first things that we want to do is disengage the winch so it's loose, because even if we loosen up the bolts, the winch line is still going to have tension on it, so it's not going to move. Disengage the winch line. Now we're going to remove the 4 bolts from underneath using a 15mm socket. Now that I've got all 4 bolts off, we can lift it up just enough to get the spacers under all 4 corners of the winch mount.
What you just witnessed was Trev lifting the winch up from the top. We removed the fairing that covers up the top of the radiator. Trev was able to get his hands down on top of the winch, the bars that go across the top of the winch, and lift it straight up just a couple inches. I was able to use a long flathead screwdriver to push the spacers into place and then index them with a long, thick Phillips head screwdriver from the bottom from the screw hole. So now that all 4 plates are indexed in the right spot, Trevor was able to drop the winch back down to where it belongs, and now we are just putting the bolts back in. It actually went surprisingly a lot easier than what we thought it would. Our biggest fear was us having to drop this big, heavy Victory 4x4 hybrid bumper with the winch. Very, very heavy, and we didn't want to have to wrestle with that thing. So luckily we were able to do it without those headaches. Epstein didn't kill himself. We ran into an issue with the spacers. They actually did not give us enough clearance so that the synthetic line cleared over the steel bumper portion before it hit the Fairlead. So now we are at extreme measures. What are we gonna do to fix this, bro?
There's 2 different ways that we could go about fixing this. The first one would be adding more spacers. However, I figure if we're adding more spacers, it's kind of defeating the purpose of the structural integrity of the mount inside there. The solution that we're going to do is actually remove the Fairlead and grind down that metal edge so it's out of the way.
And that really should fix the issue. I noticed with your finger, it's about an 1/8 inch of a triangulated lip. Removing that 1/8 inch piece of steel off of the steel bumper should actually stop any kind of contact with the synthetic line, and it should only index off of the Fairlead.
We are not structural engineers. However, when we're down here looking at this, we think the main cause of this is because of the angle of the steel bumper. I've noticed that a lot of the bumpers now have more of a flush mount for where the winch and the Fairlead come out, and it gives it a better angle. Having it at an angle I don't think is a very good design.
No, the angle of it actually diminishes the amount of clearance you have for that synthetic line to go through. So now the fix. We are going to mark the actual piece of steel that we're going to grind down very carefully and very judiciously. So then we're going to remove the Fairlead and start grinding.
Grind away.
Let's make some sparks. What we have here is the camera is flush with the Fairlead to represent how much clearance there is with the synthetic line coming out of the Fairlead, with the bumper being at the angle that it's at. As you can tell, looking down the rope, it actually contacts the Fairlead on the top and the bottom. There's almost no clearance for the synthetic line to exit out of the winch with this angle. We marked the line with what we're going to take off as far as steel material with a gray Sharpie, and now we're going to remove the Fairlead and start grinding.
Remember, safety third.
So Trevor just finished grinding this whole thing down, and you might ask yourself, why did Trevor do all the grinding? Because it's his truck, that's why. Now that it is ground down, we are going to hit it with a coat of satin black spray paint to cover the raw surface so it does not corrode. And we also got some new hardware. We initially had black bolts which were starting to rust, so now we've got some stainless hardware to throw in there back for the Fairlead, so nothing will rust now.
We finished all the grinding and painted the surface black to keep it corrosion free. Now, originally I had these black oxide bolts on here and they rusted up pretty quick, especially since we live in Arizona. So these are out and stainless hardware is now in. The only thing we have left to do is bolt the Fairlead back on and we're done. I love when a plan comes together.
That wraps up the very, very fast installment of the spacers for the winch to correct the line angle. That took about 3 hours with an hour of grinding on the bumper.
That was a lot of grinding.
That was a lot of grinding.
That was a lot of grinding. I was not expecting this project to take that long.
Yeah. It's supposed to be a really quick fix, turned out to be a project.
And we didn't even drop the bumper.
No.
Didn't even drop the bumper and it took that long. Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah. I think one of the big things with the Fairlead itself, because of the angle, I got the Factor 55 1.5 inch Hawse. I don't know if that's what it's called or not, but they're Fairlead. And I figured the larger one would give you less binding because of the angle of the bumper. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think the 1 inch may be a better choice for angled bumpers because it's going to allow a larger opening when it's at the angle. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, more shallow Fairlead is going to allow you to have that angle for the rope to slide through. Yeah, this one just really isn't doing that. But.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great Fairlead and everything else, but I just think it's just a little too fat.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so that wraps up this project. And remember, 2020 is a year of 1,000 subscribers.
1,000.
So if you have not subscribed, please do. It will really support our channel and meet our goal for 2020. We'll see you guys next time. Ready?
Do it.
All right.
Okay, I got it. All right, hold on.
I thought you knew where to go from there.
Yeah, I did. It was here,
Had it,
and then it's gone.
lost it. Had it, lost it.
So.
No! And take
Thanks for that.
of a sharp object. Blip, 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 blip.
Yes.
And the last thing that you want is your synthetic line. Synthetic?
Wow, bro.
The synthetic line.
At least I'm speaking words. All right, let's go.
Take 3. Last thing you want is synthetic line. I don't know why I can't say synthetic. Synthetic. Synthetic.
Synthetic line.
Synthetic.
Because steel?
Steel winch line.
Synthetic?
There you
Doesn't
go.
matter.
I'll just say synthetic.
Okay.
Now it's like a point of contention for me.
All right. See, you can say point of contention. You can't say synthetic. Jesus.